Hi, I'm Kelly Malone for Connection. When was the last time your organization refreshed its devices? If yours is like most, you may be due soon or now overdue. In this video, we'll be answering the question, why Mac and why now, to help you plan for the future. Today, I'm joined by Connection's Apple experts, Reagan Clark and Adrian Karen. Hi, guys.
Hi.
Thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you.
So as we all know, COVID threw a wrench in the upgrade plans for most companies. But Reagan, let's start with you. What is the current state of technology for organizations, be it a business, a school, or government?
Yeah, most organizations today have older technology in the workplace, and that's causing problems for IT as they look at their technology roadmap. That's either because the pandemic, there was fewer options available due to supply constraints, or it was because they were hesitant about the economy and they just didn't know where to spend their valuable dollars. And so really, they have to decide, do we want to fix this old technology and support this technology, or do we spend the money and the capital to upgrade it? With Windows 10 coming to a sunset and looming very soon with Windows 11, that's throwing a wrench into everything for these IT departments. They have to consider, do we want to upgrade this equipment? Because most of our equipment doesn't have the technology and security. Or do we look at alternatives? So a lot of companies are looking for alternatives for productivity, security, connectivity, and ease of use, and most importantly, the user preference.
So Adrian, what have you seen now that companies are starting the discussion for their next rollout?
Yeah, there's a lot of different topics that we're talking with customers about. I'd say some of the big ones are that Windows 11 transition that we've been talking about. There's a lot of preparing for that transition, both in licensing and in hardware refresh like we were talking about. That's often where we see a lot of Mac as a choice coming up. We see the MacBook Air being considered as that low-cost entry point into offering Mac as a choice. On top of that, AI is a big buzz in everyone's conversation, being able to understand what it can do for their organization, but also in terms of the hardware refresh, will those devices be ready and capable of AI capabilities? On top of that, zero-touch deployments. When organizations were buying devices and deploying them, they didn't have all of these tools in place. So oftentimes we see organizations had parts of zero touch, and now we're enhancing that. We're offering our Mac assessment so that we can understand an organization's environment and their infrastructure and do a little health check, make sure that everything is implemented correctly, and offering some enhancements or making sure that their modernized deployment is on par.
Now, you're both Apple experts here at Connection. When it comes to Mac in the workplace or Mac as a choice, like you mentioned, what are some of the top of mind talking points that you might tell an enterprise, a school, or even a small business who might be buying Mac for the first time or maybe the fifth?
So it's proven that companies have better retention, happier employees when they're able to use the technology that they want to use. Most people already have iPhone, iPad, Mac at home. And so why not allow them to be comfortable in the workplace? Companies like Cisco, which is a large enterprise, and even smaller businesses, but Cisco is a great example of customers with employee choice. 60% of their employees are using Mac. And when given the opportunity to transition, they chose Mac, about 24% of them. So it's a bold statement that their employees are making about what they would like to use.
Wow.
Yeah, Mac is easier to manage, and that really helps us with Mac as a choice because it's easy for IT. Apple pioneered zero-touch deployment with Apple Business Manager and Apple School Manager. It's a free deployment program for Apple devices, and that allows us to deploy a device directly to the end user. That makes it really convenient for IT because they're not having to configure the device themselves and then ship it back out. In terms of Mac users, they open 50% fewer support tickets, and each ticket costs 25% less. Mac users, they know the device, they know the ecosystem. It's very intuitive to use. So a user can figure things out on their own instead of calling IT and relying upon someone else to help them fix the problem that they might be encountering. So IT loves Mac. Compared to a PC, over 3 years, a Mac costs $843 less. So there's that residual value of the device itself, but also those fewer support tickets from IT.
And that's a significant savings when you think about how many devices could be at a business or a school. So you mentioned support, and security is keystone when it comes to the work or learn from anywhere environment. And support costs go up if devices are vulnerable. So, is Mac as secure as Windows PC?
Yes, Mac is as secure, if not more secure. So Mac is 50% less likely to experience a data breach. The IDC found 76% of IT decision makers believe Mac is more secure than Windows-based PCs. So how does this happen? Well, Apple built in a security called T2 security chip. This chip encrypts your storage, allows for secure boot capabilities, and security for your Touch ID data. Apple has built this into all the Apple silicon in all their devices. You don't have to have any endpoint or OS security licenses, which is a huge cost saving going back to the cost savings that Mac offers you.
That's good to know, considering how tricky cybersecurity threats have gotten in the last few years. So, Adrian, what can you tell me about the latest Apple Silicon chip that might help IT decision makers who might not be ready to upgrade from Intel or even an older Mac?
Yeah, it can be real tempting to hold on to those older Intel Macs. They've been around for a while. They still get free OS updates from Apple. But Apple Silicon chipset, it's 11 times faster than that older Intel-based Mac. We're talking pre-2020 in terms of those old machines that are still out there. And there's a number of them. But by upgrading to a new Mac with Apple Silicon, they run cooler, they're offering twice the battery life, so they're great performance, very efficient. And the best part is there's a variety of Mac models, so there's really a Mac for everyone at any price point.
We're talking a lot about device refresh. So let's bring the big topic into the conversation, which is artificial intelligence. So how does artificial intelligence tie into device refresh in the workplace?
Yeah, well, you may not know this, Kelly, but you're using AI today in your iPhone using Siri. Apple introduced this embedded AI in 2017 in the iPhone and in 2020 in their Mac. This neural chipset is built right into the Apple Silicon, allowing that processing power to be on the device rather than in the cloud.
Well, gentlemen, any last pieces of advice for organizations that might be looking to get new devices?
Yeah, most important is Apple provides total value, best-in-class battery life, processing power, storage, memory, imaging, audio, data collection capabilities. There really isn't a competitor that can match what Apple has available today.
And one of the big things is don't go at it alone. So connection here, we have a great Apple practice. We're part of that. Give your connection account team a call. That free assessment that I was talking about, that readiness review, that health check, we do that all the time, and that can only help you. We have a great try before you buy program, as well as many exclusive offers that are available for our customers.
Well, Adrian and Reagan, thank you so much for the discussion today. I am certainly ready for my device refresh. I have an older Mac, and on Intel, it's time to get that faster chip series in there for sure. If your organization would like more information on Mac in the workplace or refreshing your device ecosystem, visit connection.com/Apple.